the community edition of Databricks. And as you can see that it is much limited. There's not so much that we can use as in this bigger version. But since we are either students or working for educational institutions, so this is what we do. And so you should get started from here later on, not now. And what you will get is a single cluster, so like one server computer, and 6 gigs of memory. And that will work fine for you in these examples. You would actually not need all of that at all. And this environment we will check now. You can get started from that later on, and eventually you will be getting to this kind of how would I see that? Well, this kind of page. And well, since I have been using this, so naturally my Databricks site is a bit different than yours when you start from scratch. But let's look at the left-hand side. And there's workspace, data, clusters. These are the 3 ones that we mostly use. And let's first take a look at clusters. So probably when you start, it should look like this, and then you stop working with that, and you notice when you come back, it's the same situation. So the computers, these clusters, they don't run more than a certain amount of time, and then they die, and then you need to create them again, like restart, kind of. So don't worry about that. So let's create here some cluster. So what we have here, Databricks runtime, we have Python, and these we need 6 gigs of memory, and time zones, who cares, we don't need that. And then just create a cluster, and let's see what happens. We should be getting a cluster. Yeah, there it comes. It takes a while to start. And now it is running. So it didn't take a long time. Then like that. I have here already some data, and well, you can see that, well, you don't know it yet, but these are for the exercises already. And you can add CSV data files from here. I guess you know how to do it, so I'm not going through that. Oh, let's see what it does. So you can upload files from here, and you get an option there to select what kind of an environment you will get, and it's better to show it. Okay, that's one. There I have some CSV file, whatever that is, and so now it's uploaded there, and you can see that here is a path to that file, and it's a good idea to copy that. However, since, well, originally when I started using this environment, so this somehow forgot where the data files were, but nowadays it is a bit better than original. However, here you can select whether you want to create a table with user interface or a notebook from this source. And well, you can try them out both. But when you do this notebook, so then you get already some Python code ready for you. And well, it's up to you what you want to do. This could be the easier way to start. And there's already here and here and well here some variables that are already made for you. So actually there you have the file location already. And then you have this part ready for you. However, when we go to SQL part, so then there will be some new code for you, but let's see how that works a bit later. So that's like adding data and then this workspace here. So then as you see, I have quite a lot of stuff here. So then since I don't want to show you all my code, so I'm not going through those, but this is the place where you can go then and select different codes that you have done yourself. And from here you can naturally make that a bit broader so you can see larger texts. When you have done this code, whatever that code is, so here you can run this code, and let's see what it does. Basically, it has only this display command here now. So it is reading the CSV file. It is reading it in to this variable. All that file is in that variable, and then it should be displaying the variable. Now it's thinking that the topmost line of this file is the header. So it means that on every column there should be some kind of a text explaining what that column means. And now let's see what happens when we start this run cell. What do we get? Okay, we get that kind of output. So basically this means that this file is not in a really good order because it doesn't read the header nicely. This should be actually the header line. However, it is not working nicely, so there's something wrong in this file. We would need to clear that file in order to make that work, but now you just see how it basically works. And from here You can make some statistics of the code from this file, but now there's no sense because it doesn't understand it. But here you can then later on produce all kinds of charts from this data. So basically, it is so simple to do. You just need to then write more code here to continue, and that you will for sure do here in order to make the exercises. Okay. So this is the environment, and then let's see what we have here in Moodle. And so this is our part here. And so first make your own account in this community edition of Databricks, and make the cluster and such, whatever. And then we have some example code. Let's see, materials is there, and there we have some example code and example data. So TSV is a kind of CSV. It's just tab that is there, the delimiter. Let's see if we can see what that file looks like. Opening it in WordPad, it takes a while. It's data from New York City Stock Exchange from 2001. And basically it says that this is the exchange, so it's always the same. Stock symbol is here, so meaning the company. And if we go further, there should, oh, this is a long one. You can see that it changes. So there are many companies involved. There's quite a lot of data here. The date is here, so what has happened on that day. And then it says that the stock price opened when the stock market has opened. So the price of that stock would be here. And then the top price for the stock would be the next one, this column. And then next would be the low one during the day, and when the stock market has closed, so then what has been the price then. Stock volume means how many have been changed, and this is actually what I don't know what this means, but we don't need it anyway, so it's like data that we don't need and don't need to even know what it means. So when we look at this mass of numbers, so it's pretty hard to get an idea what has been going on in this stock exchange during that year, because there's just so much data, and now we would need to visualize that a bit so that we can understand what kind of things have happened in that. And that's why we have here some basic code that you can copy there. I have this Python environment, but you can see that also in Notepad if you like. And so there's a bit of explanation what is going on, and then this code, you can just copy it and then start working with that. And the easiest way here is just to take the comments out first and then see what is going to happen. And first we have some commands that you can just try, and then you notice that there is this res variable that is used in these commands, and you can see that this is now SQL, all the time SQL, and so the stock here, which then is registered as a table, so SQL table called stock T. So it is started from here. It is set here so that we say that the first line is the header, and as you could see, there's this exchange and the prices and so forth, and that the delimiter is a tab. So this is the way how to mark that tab, and the input file is then, well, whatever is your name. And as you can see that earlier, so this system added some numbers and letters to make that unique, this file name, but nowadays it does not do that. But like forgetting that, so it meant that I needed to upload the file again because it didn't remember it. But how this works is that you can then take the comments out, and then at the end there's this show. So you just keep this here, and you can see the results of that in the Databricks environment. Then not here in my laptop. And then first it is easy. So you can do that, and then put it away, as you know what is happening there. And then you can start working with this and see how that works. And soon you need to think yourself. So what kind of commands should there be? And as you can see, I'm not teaching you anything of SQL. It's on your own that you need to work these through. And then there are some questions for you based on what you have found out in these exercises. Now this res show here, it just shows like in a table manner the results. But when you want to, that actually could be taken away. If you want to see the graphical version of that result, so then you can use this display here, or this graph here, how to show them differently, as I showed in previously. So from the bottom there was this place where you could select what kind of graphics would be output then. So you can use these then. So this exercise is just on the stock exchange data, and it is pretty straightforward to do that. At least it should be, and it has been. Okay, so that's the first. Let's go back here. And here are some instructions how to do the things. It's really simple to run that system. It doesn't take long time to do it. And there's also instruction video. You can look at that. And then naturally you can answer here your exercises. But then, as you have got an idea how to work with Databricks, so then we take a look at some data in order to select the best country for you to live. So if you just think about data, where would you end up? And so first, we have decided that you will use World Bank data, and they have quite a lot of open data for you to work with. And so first you need to know your data so that you can work with that. And let's go and see here. So World Bank open data. And here you can start seeing all kinds of databases. Basically, they at least the ones that I looked at, so they were pretty simple, and they looked pretty much the same. So I would imagine that when you do the same as I did, so you should find the same, if I'm not too much mistaken. And first, when you go through these files, you should start looking at the titles here. So what are the things that you could look at that matter to you somehow a bit? There's not much data also. Not enough. We have just a couple of countries here. There's a bit more. Let's see if we have Finland here. We don't have Finland here. Nothing. But anyway, we could perhaps use this as an example. And now we would need to download it as CSV. And there we get it as a zip file. And let's see if we can open that. So then you can see how it looks like when opening in Excel, like a bit like straightforward. Not really nicely, but I guess you know how to do that. So that we have here commas. So the separator is first commas, and then you need to, well, you know what to do with Excel, so I don't need to. I don't need to explain you more. What I did in Excel was that I changed this comma to a semicolon. Actually, it became a semicolon very easily, so it didn't do much. And here you can see that much of this data is just empty. So when you have taken this data in nicely, so there are many columns that you just can delete, and that way you can clean your data. I had some trouble in some of those CSV files to get rid of the first lines that were not the header line. So even I had to use Notepad in order to do that. But since this data is so small, so also I could do that, and Notepad was not overloaded. But anyway, you can work with that first, cleaning the data with Excel and Notepad. So clean everything away that you don't need. That is just empty data. And then let's go back to the code in Moodle there. So first, you pick the databases you like, and then you need to clean them. So this is what I explained to you about. And then after you have done that, you need to create a model. So how do you combine the data from these three databases to find out which of the countries is the best one for you? So the answer is mathematics. So all these databases equally good for you, or is there some data that is more important for you than the others? You can all do that in the SQL select statement. And then you can process the data and then get the results. And so eventually this is what you should be producing, top 3 countries. And if I think about my results, that I had some databases there, and they ended up giving me results: Venezuela, Iceland, and Lithuania. And well, Finland was 8 or 10 or somewhere there. So at least in my case, so the reliability of the data could be questioned. So this was more like fun than reality what we got. But this is a good exercise in the sense that you can get an idea how to work with the data and also think what the result is. So is it making sense? Because we can use all kinds of mathematical equations and analytical patterns and whatever. Well, where is the common sense? Sometimes you just need to use that and say that, well, this does not make any sense, or this is a really good thing that this shows. And then there's some hints for the programming, so that now you have 3 files there, and you can make like what was that book there? So just a second, not that here. So this notebook here, you can make for each of those files, you can make a notebook first, but then start operating on them so that where's my Moodle? so that the file locations make each of those different, those variables, and then you can start making the SQL contexts from these different files, and then you can, so this variable is femtech, and you can then create a table from that. And then when you have done this for all of those, so then you can use these variables as SQL tables, and then, well, just make your statements how to work with them. And it is pretty much that. So combining three SQL tables together in a select, so that shouldn't be too much for you to do. And then figuring out how to get the list like I have here. So this is what your result should look like later on. Hopefully you get some better results than what I got, because I will for sure not move to Venezuela or Lithuania or even Iceland. That's for sure. Okay, so here are the instructions, and so have you anything to ask? This path that I have here, so basically this is quite a lot what normally people would do in analysis. However, so the mathematics in the results here, they would be then perhaps a bit stronger than just SQL. There could be all kinds of mathematics behind. You do not need to install any Python apps. I just have it for some robotics that I'm doing. You can easily use just Excel, and that's enough. Or then Notepad. They are just enough for you. Naturally, if you like, so you can do the install something for Python, but basically for this you don't need anything on your laptop. Nothing. It's all in the Databricks environment what you need. It's only for cleaning up. So cleaning the data. There you need Excel. There you need perhaps you need Notepad or something like that.